This is episode 15 with Kirsten Bloomquist. Welcome to the Reignite podcast. My name is Todd Judkins, a former naval officer and corporate consultant turned life coach. And each week we'll bring you an inspirational person or message to help you discover how to reignite your life, get back in the game, and thrive in everything you do. Thanks for spending time with me today. Now let's light the fuse and reignite. Today, Reignite Nation, we have Kirsten Bloomquist, a clinical hypnotherapist, speaker, and fellow author on the podcast with us today. She has coached top life coaches, professional athletes, doctors, CEOs, business teams, celebrity figures, and billionaires. Taking her proven strategies and techniques, she has provided them in a powerful program that she can help more people to achieve their goals and create the life they've always dreamed of living. Kirsten helps people get what they want using the power of the subconscious mind. So let's get into the mind with Kirsten Bloomquist. Well, hello, Kirsten, and welcome to the Reignite podcast. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Todd. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited as well because today we're going to talk to a clinical hypnotherapist whose whole focus is on happiness, and that's where we need to be. So, Kirsten, tell me, just take me through a journey. How did you get into hypnotherapy? What's your story that took you from where you were to where you are today?
Okay, great question, Todd. Can I share some personal information with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, so a few years back, I was really struggling with depression. I had depression for 7 years. I had insomnia, and if you wouldn't believe this, emotional eating disorder. So I had binge eating disorder. I would eat nonstop. I couldn't stop myself, and I tried getting help. And people would say, why don't you just tell yourself no? And I'm like, oh my gosh, if that worked, this problem would be solved already. It's not that easy. And I heard about hypnotherapy. I tried it out and I'm like, you know what? There's something to this. I was raised in a Christian family and a lot of religion sees this as kind of like Satan's work or it's evil. So it was against my religious practice, but I just really was desperate for anything and I tried everything. And I saw that there's nothing evil to this. So I went to school for it. I fell in love with it from day one. It was so much fun. And I just started experimenting on myself and on friends and family. I forced them to let me hypnotize them. And we started seeing huge results with everyone, and especially myself. The binge eating has stopped. The emotional eating's gone. The depression is gone. I feel so happy, and I've given myself tools to tap into my subconscious mind so that in this last year, I went through a lot of hard times. There was the rock of my life who was there for me for nearly 9 years. He got ill and he passed away. And that was a big loss for me. It's only been a year since then. And I have been using the tools to build myself up. And when you lose everything, it's so devastating. But Todd, there's a benefit when you lose everything and when you're at ground zero. It's that you get to build yourself up again exactly how you want to be. And that is what I've been doing. And I feel happy and peaceful. And everyone who's seen me in the past few months, they're like, Kirsten, you look so much younger, so much happier, so much more vibrant. What are you doing? I feel so much better now, right? So I practice what I preach. And I just want to share this with everyone because I feel good and I want others to feel this too.
Yeah, that's amazing, Kirsten. And just your attitude and your use of the tools is something that I admire because, for full disclosure, Kirsten and I share the same publisher. She has a book coming out called The Power of Now, How to Step into Your Most Powerful Mind Instantly. And that's be coming out soon. And we share the same publisher. So I have not seen you in a year. And that's just amazing. The events that have occurred between a year ago when I saw you, where you were robust, full energy and happy. And now you've gone through all of that. And I'm looking at you right now and you're robust, full energy and happy. You're that same person. And that's amazing. So tell me how hypnotherapy contributes to your happiness.
It gave me a really good understanding on the subconscious mind. So whether or not I am using hypnosis on myself or on people, I know how the subconscious mind works. So I can do little mind hacks, I call them. I can help people and I can help myself to just hack into the power of the mind and to make little switches. So it doesn't have to be something dramatic. It can just be a simple switch to help them to feel happier or feel even just a little bit better or to see things differently because we give our power away all the time, especially if we have anger issues and, we get pissed off when we're driving in traffic or something like this, or we hold on to some painful memories of the past, anything like that, we're giving our power away and somebody else can actually just come in and use our power against us. So it's just beneficial to use these little tools and to learn how to use it for yourself. And that's what I do every single day. I work on how can I be in the present moment? How can I be the best version of myself? And how can I just maximize my potential?
Wow. Wow, that's incredible. I want to come back to those hacks in just a second. But just for our listeners out there, can you explain, how do you define hypnosis? What exactly is it?
Ooh, okay, that is a big question. So hypnosis, everyone thinks that it's just stage hypnosis, right? We've all seen stage hypnosis. And to be honest, I love that. I think it's hilarious. It's great entertainment. I see nothing wrong with it. Hypnotherapy, on the other hand, is for therapeutic purposes. So hypnosis is just an altered state of mind where your body and your mind are fully relaxed. It's in that stage where, like 5 seconds before you fall asleep at night, where you just feel like you're floating and you don't even care if your phone rings. You're like, I'm just so chill and relaxed right now. That's what it is. So it's that altered state of mind. So we're bypassing the conscious part of the mind, which is your logical, analytical part of the mind. That's 5% of your mind. And we are getting into the subconscious part of the mind, which is 95% of your mind. That's your emotions, your memories, your beliefs, and your programming. So that's the makeup of who you are. Now, there's other ways to get into the subconscious, but hypnosis is just a really quick and easy tool to get into your subconscious and then to kind of remove any weeds that are there and plant seeds for what you want.
Yeah, that's great. And I always like that time in the morning, just when you're waking up. I feel that's also another time when you're kind of in that floating state. And that's the time I really like to set my intentions because I feel there's like a slight connection between my subconscious and conscious mind where they're both existing in the same space at the same time. So it's a beautiful point for me in the morning to make sure that I'm focused on that.
And that self-awareness that you have that, Todd, that is huge. So good on you for that.
Yeah. So another practice that I do is meditation. I am a big meditator. I do something called Vedic meditation, sound meditation with a mantra, and it has helped me tremendously. It's been what I call a powerful piece in my toolkit to happiness here. What's the difference between hypnosis and meditation? When I meditate, it's on a mantra and I'm looking to kind of blank out. Where I know where I know hypnosis, I think is a little more focused.
Okay, so again, you're asking wonderful questions. There is a difference between meditation and hypnosis. So meditation, like you said, you might be focusing on a mantra and eventually you will enter the zone where you feel blissful. So you don't know exactly when or how that's going to happen. With hypnosis, you can get into the zone like that. It's all just specifically designed to tap into the zone and get you there so that you can create that feeling and that space in your mind. And yes, you are right. There is some focus. So a lot of people think that they will forget everything while they're in trance and they lose their control. But actually what happens is with me, I can't say with every hypnotist, but with myself, I give people back their control so that when they're in a state of trance, they feel the most powerful they've ever felt, as well as they feel extremely focused. Every distraction, every sound has just faded in the background. All they hear is my voice. And they just feel like they are surrounded in love and light and happiness. And they come out of that and they're like, wow, what was that? And they soon become addicted to that really good feeling.
Wow, that's awesome. And in that moment you talk about in meditation, I call that falling into the gap, and I talk to so many people who are practicing meditation that have trouble falling into the gap. And that's just amazing how you say that hypnosis just takes you right there and you get into the gap, you get into that bliss zone. And you do have full control. And it's just an amazing feeling. Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome. What would you recommend to pair kind of a hypnosis process with a meditation process? What would you recommend for that area?
Okay, so what I do personally, Todd, so I have trained myself. I do this for my clients as well, where we set up a physical trigger and a mental trigger at the same time. So for instance, when I sit down and I've got the intention of meditating or going into a trance, I close my eyes and I've got like just a one word that my mind says. And at the same time, I pinch my fingers together. And so this way, when I do that word, my mind knows to go into that state. And when I squeeze my fingers together, my body knows to go into that state. So at the same time, I sit there and this has been measured. So they put on the brain scanning device on me. I forget what it's called right now. And they measured it to see what my brain is doing when I go into that state. And it goes into actually the high gamma state. It goes into gamma, which is very hard for people to get into. And that's the state where you feel love and happiness and bliss. It's like the best state you can be in. And they measured that and they're like, wow, your brain just snaps right into that. How do you produce that so quickly? But it's the fact that I've trained myself. So I use self-hypnosis to enter that state very quickly. And then from there, I might focus on an affirmation, or I might visualize, or just, to be honest, the best thing that I do, Todd, and here's a great hack, is I focus on a really good feeling. So for instance, I will focus on love or something good that happened. Instead of just focusing on all the thoughts around that or trying to force the thoughts out, I focus on that feeling in my body and I see if I can expand it even bigger. So for instance, if say something really good happened today and I feel happy, I'm going to focus on that happiness. Where do I feel it? I feel it in my heart. So how do I expand this? Can I make it bigger? And I just focus on that, because what you focus on grows larger and larger. And before I know, I feel like I'm this ball of bliss, and it puts me in such a good mood for the rest of the day. And then good things just happen for the rest of the day.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I hope everybody's listening to this. So Kirsten, you're talking about just, having that physical anchor to be able to take yourself into that state at any time. And so you can employ this in any stressful situation, or when you're about to have a big meeting, or Thanksgiving dinner when you have, your crazy uncle coming over and that's going to cause stress in the family. You always have that tool to get you to that happy place, right?
Yes, and athletic performance as well. So this is great to just push your physical barriers as well.
That's a great one. How does that work for athletic performance?
Oh, it's really great. So as you know, with professional athletes, they have these rituals before the game, right? These pre-game rituals, and they start from the moment they get up. They put on their lucky boxers. They have to do everything, like if they didn't shave and they won that day, they got to not shave again, right? So they have these pre-game rituals, and all of it is to help them get into the zone, because when they're in the zone, they play better. Like I already said, is that when you use these triggers, you get into the zone immediately. So it can help these professional athletes, and we give them tools to program themselves, get into the zone, so they start the game off right with the right feelings, the right mindset. And this way, it's like they're more in control of the game instead of the game controlling them. And they have these tools so that in case they forget and throughout the game, something's going bad, we don't want them to react out of emotion. They need to be in control, and they need to be in the moment and right there. So we have these tools, and they can just change just like that.
Wow. So what you're talking about is these tools will actually allow the athlete to immediately get into that flow state.
Yes.
Well, that's amazing. I played college baseball, and I wish I knew you when I was in college. And I can remember there was times when you hear athletes talk about the game just slowed down, and you're in that flow state, and if I could have harnessed that and controlled that on demand, that would have been incredible.
Yeah, they talk about how the game slows down, and it feels like they see what's going to happen next, and they can control it, and like they just know everything's going to go right. They catch the ball perfectly, or their movements are perfect, and it's just all in slow motion, and they don't even need to think. They can just be there and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's almost as though you're disassociated with yourself, and you're just a part of the moment. Yeah, I've experienced that, and and just the pure power to be able to capture that on demand is just incredible. Incredible. Yes. Just to change the subject a little bit, or change the direction, why do you think people wander around kind of mindlessly in life? People just don't have any direction. They let life take charge and just push them where they go, as opposed to kind of setting their desire and their intention. Why do you think most people are walking around in that kind of state?
Wow. Okay. I'm going to tell you my opinion on this. Okay. So I think what it is that we are not taught about the subconscious mind from an early age, and we should be. And so what happens is we are in a state of trance all day long. Whether we're being hypnotized or not, we are in a state of trance, because there's such thing as waking hypnosis. So we're just going into lighter states and deeper states throughout the day. For instance, Todd, I'm going to prove this to you. Have you ever driven anywhere and you realized you weren't paying attention, yet you still got there?
Yeah, I probably did that sometime this week.
Yeah, so everybody does this, right? Every single person says yes to that question. Here is why. Because when you get into something that's familiar, such as a habit, which driving is, your conscious mind turns off. So you're not consciously thinking about, okay, I got to put the key in the ignition and I got to turn this. You're thinking about what you have to do, where you're going, what you want for supper, whatever it is. Your subconscious mind, that is your mind, that's the habits, the rituals. Okay, so it's autopilot. That's the word I was looking for. So it's your autopilot. And so when you get into a habit, then the autopilot turns on and your subconscious doesn't do any logical thinking or anything like that. It just takes over and it starts to drive for you as you're driving someplace that you've driven before. If you're driving somewhere new, then your conscious mind, you have to consciously pay attention. So we're in this state of trance where we are thinking about the past way too much. We are thinking about the future way too much, and we're not in the present moment. And so our mind is distracted, which means we are more suggestible to external circumstances. And so the external circumstances are negative. So over time, we're going to be programmed to be negative, right? We've got the news, the media, social media. We have all these things happening and then all these bills and stresses and all these things coming into our life. That over time, if we are not doing something to give ourselves happiness, to program ourselves for happiness and success, then our mind is being programmed, unfortunately, for negativity and stress and failure.
Wow. That's really, really powerful. I can see that now because one of the things that we in my household always focus on is that when we're in the car, we're listening to something that's either going to be uplifting, enriching, or educational. I listen to Augmentino scrolls in the morning driving around, or we'll listen to podcasts or something that's uplifting. Something that we totally want to do is avoid the news because you're right, it is all negative.
Yes.
And that just makes total sense that if you're walking around, you're going to get suggested.
Yes, absolutely. You are suggestible and you're picking up on all these negative things that are happening. So it's great that podcasts are now becoming a huge trend because that's one step in the right direction for people to start filling their mind with positive information.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I want to do with this podcast is not only have just super people like you on it to just give us this information on how to equip ourselves, but I also have a shorter version of this podcast that releases weekly as well called the Power Edition, where they're just 5-minute episodes that are really focused in on how do we positively approach life? How do we go out and get what we want? How do we really take what we want, make sure that we have our happy life and that we're kind of writing what we need to do? So that's just...
Yes. You're right. Because Todd, a lot of people think that a positive mindset is just something you're either born with. The truth is, yes, maybe you're born with it, maybe you aren't. But the good news is you can change it, right? So if you don't change it, that's on you. I was not the most positive person growing up. I was actually very negative, very doubtful. I didn't believe in hypnosis. I didn't believe in anything spiritual. I was so closed-minded, so skeptical. And I even went around telling people, yeah, right, we don't have power to change our lives. And when somebody made me watch the movie The Secret, I was like, wow, you just wasted like 2 hours of my time that I'll never get back with that BS. And then I just started to research it and apply it, and it works. But this is something I had to train myself to do. So I was not born as a positive person. And so this is evidence that we can all change, right? Oh. And that's perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's something that, I work on every day. I make sure that I've come to the thought that I cannot so much get rid of my negative habits. I have to replace them with positive habits, right?
Yes.
So making sure I meditate, making sure, that I have set my intentions, making sure that I have positive affirmations, making sure that I'm avoiding as much as the negativity, which still trying to get in a little bit of information that I'm going to need to actually function, that it's sometimes it's a balance and I got to make sure that, hey, too much. And if it's too much, I know I have the power to change it. Wow, that's awesome. And I think if everybody would just think about what Kirsten just said, that you have that control. And she's now explaining some of those tools that she uses, those tools that I will be using starting immediately after this call. So that's just going to be awesome. So if I'm out there and I'm looking at, I need to make a change and I need to be positive, what is some of the things somebody should consider with exploring hypnotherapy over some of the other forms of therapy?
Everything is going to be different for everyone. For instance, other hypnotherapists, they're very different from myself as well. So with myself, I really focus on giving people that power, giving them the control back when they've lost it, and teaching them how their mind works so that they can, for the rest of their lives, be creating what they want. They can feel like they are in control, or almost you feel like you can see behind the curtain a magic show. You see how things work and kind of gives you an advantage in life. So I like to teach people that because once they get an understanding of who they are and how they can create happiness, then they start to feel a sense of purpose in their life and peace and all of a sudden they're creating businesses and going out and having this positive ripple effect in the world. So it really just depends what's your goal, and then who are you comfortable with. Because hypnosis, it's maybe not for everyone. Some people may think that they're just going to fall asleep and then wake up a changed person. But to be honest, there's going to be some work to it. It may be, in my opinion, one of the fastest ways of getting results, but there still is some work to it. You've got to be wanting the results and ready to do what it takes to get the results.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer. I've seen it in action. My wife quit smoking via hypnosis.
Wow.
And it was really impressive. She had tried and tried and tried for years. That was almost a decade ago, or probably over a decade ago now that I think about it. But, she went to hypnosis sessions and never picked up another cigarette. And you're right, it was work.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she walked out and it was magical, but it gave her the tools. And when she came out of there, she had the tools to cope with the nicotine withdrawals and never picked up another cigarette. And it's just
as well as cravings. So there's all sorts of psychological issues there that when it comes to whatever our habits are, or whatever is holding us back from being who we want to be. In order to overcome those challenges, we have to redirect our mind. We have to reprogram it to overcome whatever it is that's holding us back. So if it's food, and we've got cravings, we've got reasons for the food we're eating, all these different things that are happening, and we need to reprogram the mind to switch from eating all this junk food to doing something that's healthier. And it doesn't have to be drastic overnight going cold turkey, but we need to reprogram the mind with new, positive, healthy, happy habits so that it starts to feel natural, like you can wake up and that's who you are.
Wow. Yeah. And happiness is where it's at. Because I know so many professionals out there, who, the old saying I have is, they've spent their whole career climbing that success ladder only to realize their ladder was up against the wrong wall. Right? And it's like, now what I want to do. And I just want everybody to know that you have the tools. There's people like Kirsten out there that can show you how to get there, how to take charge of your life and really live in bliss and happiness. And that's what it's all about. Mm-hmm. That's what Reignite is really about. And thank you, Kirsten, for coming on the podcast today, sharing with us some deep insight and value. And I know people are going to want to get a hold of you. So tell us how they can get a hold of you. How can they contact you?
Absolutely. So Todd, I want to say thank you so much for having me here, because I love you and I are in alignment here with what we're doing in the world. So it's so great to connect with you. And I love your energy and your story. It's so wonderful. So if people want to actually, hey, you know what? If you guys want to try out being hypnotized and you just want to see what it's like and you want that for free, you can go to my website and you can actually download a hypnosis audio program for free. So this will be sent to you and it's going to make you feel like you're hypnotized to just relax at the beach. So by the end of it, you're going to come out of trance and you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, I just went to the beach. I had a vacation. And this is exactly what we all need. We're all overworked, overstressed. We're so tired, overwhelmed. We need this mental, physical relaxation. And hypnosis is the ultimate way to do that, because it's like pressing reset on your mind and your body. So if you go to my website, that's feelingpowerful.com. So www.feelingpowerful.com. You will be able to see it right there on the front page, and you can enter your name, your email, and you will get that sent to you.
Yeah. So everybody, we'll have all the names and the links right in the show notes, and they'll be available. And I want to challenge everybody to go ahead and go do that. And then, contact me on social media or send me an email. I'm always available. Let me know what your experience with Kirsten are, because I am going to be doing this. I am going to be taking hypnotherapy, and I'm going to be bringing it into my life as well. I'm going to incorporate it meditation. I am going to reach out. I'm going to let everybody know how that goes for me. And then, Kirsten, do you think you can come back on the show at a later date once you get your book published? I'd love to have you back. I'd love to continue this conversation, because I know there is so much more we can talk about.
Absolutely, Todd. I'm really excited about this book. It's going to have so much in it. I'm going to be giving a lot of secrets of a hypnotist in there so that you can use these same tools, these same tricks, these same things that I'm doing as a hypnotist, so that you can get those effective results for yourself. So I would love to show you guys that once the book is out.
That is outstanding. And, Reignite Nation will be sure to let you know when the book is released. We'll be going ahead and updating our show notes, and I'll be putting out messages on social media as well. So, Kirsten, thank you so much for joining the Reignite podcast. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, and you have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank you.
Okay. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Reignite podcast. If this episode resonated with you in any way, please share it with a friend. One of the greatest experiences human beings is being able to mastermind as a group, where we get together and collectively share and build off of each other's energy. Reigniting is no longer about accepting life as it comes, but designing the life you desire. We are committed to bringing you thought-leading and thought-provoking discussions to inform and motivate you in finding the joy in your journey, no matter what road you choose to take. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Todd Judkins, or send me an email at connect@toddjudkins.com. I'd love to hear about your struggles, your successes, and your thoughts. Thank you for listening, Reignite Nation. And always remember, the joy is not only in the destination, but what life has to offer in the journey. We'll be back with another full episode on Tuesday and with a short Reignite message on Friday just to jumpstart your weekend. Until then, keep that fuse lit and reignite.